What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about the staff and clefs. So the staff is this group of 5 lines. It's always got 5 lines and 4 spaces. And sometimes you'll see lines get added to the bottom or the top. We'll talk about those in another lesson. But the staff is really designed to help us be able to write notes. So this is really important for us to be able to organize our notation so that we can read and write music. And we also are able to divide music into groups using bar lines like this and using time signatures so we know exactly how our music should be grouped. But there's a limitation with just having a staff that is blank like this. And the limitation is that there's obviously a limited note range. So if I start at the bottom here and I go to the top, I've only got about an octave, or that is a group of 8 notes that can be played or sung. So if I want to sing or play in a wider range than this, I kind of run into trouble because I've run out of space. Now, if you've ever looked at a keyboard or a piano, you would know that there are more notes on there than are represented here. So that's where we come into the need for clefs. There are a bunch of different kinds of clefs, and really the job of a clef is to identify a pitch range for written music. So each of these clefs identify different pitch ranges. This note is actually the same note, although it appears in different places on each of these staves. That's the plural for staff. So each of these is a middle C. But it appears in different places on each of these staves because each of them has a different pitch range. The most common ones are going to be the treble clef and the bass clef. But these other ones are used for different instruments as well, most notably this alto clef, which is used often for viola and French horn, and this other one is the tenor clef, which is used in the higher ranges of bassoons, trombones, cellos, and a few other instruments. So let's look at the treble clef. The treble clef's lowest note on the staff is an E, and its highest note on the staff is an F. The treble clef is mainly for high notes. This is, of course, a generalization, but for singers, you're going to see sopranos and altos singing in this clef mainly, and for instruments, you'll see violin, flute, clarinet, trumpet, a lot of higher pitched instruments in this range. This is the bass clef. This is generally for low notes. The lowest note represented here is a G, and the highest note on this clef is an A. Although you can extend these clefs, this represents the biggest portion of the range on this clef. For singers, baritones and basses are going to sing most often in this clef, and for instruments, you'll see tuba, double bass, and a lot of other low instruments that will play in this clef. Now, you can put both of these clefs together with what we call the grand staff. The grand staff is defined by this sort of squiggly line on the left that connects both of them, and this is used really often in piano music. This helps the person reading the music to know that these lines go together, and so you might need to play notes simultaneously on both of these staves. You may have noticed that I left out one singing part when talking about clefs. That's because a lot of the time, tenors sing in this kind of altered treble clef. What makes it different from a normal treble clef is it's got this little 8 at the bottom. This means that the singer is supposed to sing an octave lower than what is written. So that means that on the treble clef, on the left here with the 8 at the bottom, if I have this note written, this is a high E on the treble clef. This is, of course, probably too high for most tenors to sing. What the composer intends is for them to sing what would be a lower E down here. It's the same note, it's just an octave lower. So when tenors are reading this treble clef with an 8 at the bottom on the left, what the composer means for them to do is to sing an octave lower than the notes that are written. The reason that they do this is because otherwise tenors can get into this difficult position where they sing between the treble clef and the bass clef. And so rather than switch between the two clefs, they kind of use this altered clef on the left to help accommodate the tenor's range. Well, there you have it. Our primary clefs are the treble clef, the bass clef, and the octave treble clef. And those are the ones that you're going to sing in most of the time, with these being the ones that you're going to play in most of the time if you play an instrument, in addition to a couple of the other clefs that we mentioned. And there you have it.